Okay, there we go. We are live, actually live this time, thanks to some interesting problems. So we're gonna wait for our friends to show up before we say hi and introduce everybody. Woo. I know. Come on, friends. Oh, we've got friends today. Friends are here.
Oh, I like that.
We've got 5 friends. Yay, friends! Okay, yes. Andre Designs is here. Right on. Friends are starting to appear. Sorry, guys. We had just a wild, all of a sudden, the broadcasts were canceled. And so I had to restart everything, which I felt was really particularly unfair. And it hurt my feelings a lot. But that's okay, because we're here now. So fixing my glasses really quick. Everybody, welcome back to Pro EDU Critiques, hosting the Photographers Roundtable, where we critique the work of our community. They have decided what they wanted to submitted it to us. We've gone through it. The images have been picked at random. And then we have a group of amazing panelists who look at the images, break them down, give their opinions. And then also we want to hear from you, the audience. So whenever we share an image, if you guys have thoughts, please put them in the comments and we can bring them up on screen and discuss what your thoughts are as well. And before we begin, let me introduce some of the amazing panelists that we have here today. Ella Grace Bell, Pratik, Naik, and Renee Robyn. Welcome, guys, to Pro EDU Critiques. So glad to have you here. It was last minute, guys. I was like, hey, guys, do you want to come on? And they were like, sure. So
might as well.
Appreciate you guys so much for showing up today.
Well, thanks for asking.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah. So real quick, even though most of our audience, of course, knows who you guys are, I'm going to make you do the thing again, starting with Ella, since she's on top. Just let the audience, she's like, don't do it. Let the audience know a little bit about yourself so they know who's going to be critiquing their work.
You guys know me by now. Why do I have to keep doing this?
Just do the thing, Ella.
We like it.
Hi, I'm Ella. I shoot beauty for fun, and I shoot e-com for work. That's what I do. So make sure you steam your shit, or I'm going to see it.
This is true. If you do not steam the clothing in your photographs, Ella will catch it, so you better be paying attention. Renee, how about you?
Hi, I'm Renee Robyn, and I'm a composite artist and photographer from Canada. And yeah, I shoot all kinds of stuff.
Yes, she does.
I work largely in like technology and advertising.
Yes. Jeff said, why didn't the rest of us color grade our rooms to match our hair? Because nobody's cool as Renee, Jeff. Let's just be real.
Honestly, I can't change my color that's on my camera, even if I really want to. Like, I could set up all the lights in the world and it'll still come off this pink color. I don't know what to do about it. It's my iMac. I blame the computer.
I know. I found that the Sony turns me really super magenta. So, and I just haven't messed with the settings to change it, but that's just how it's going to be.
Well, that's
that's how I did it.
Oh no, I need to be a lot more creative. And then Pratik, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am a full-time retoucher in for editorial and commercial work. I do a lot of beauty and fashion stuff, and I also do photography. So I'll be critiquing your retouching for the most part, while these other fine folks will be doing all the photography-related stuff as well.
Yeah, because you're unqualified to judge photography too.
I know, clearly. He's like such a beginner. Really weak skills, Pratik, weak skills.
Wow, ouch.
That's a big fat lie. His work is beautiful. He knows I'm lying. All right, so really quickly, just want to go over the rules a little bit for how we do this today. So I have chosen 5 photos from our community at random, and then I will bring them up on the big screen. The rest of the panel has not seen any of these photos, so they will get about 20 seconds or so to take a good look at the image along with you in the audience, and then we'll move back to the regular layout and everybody will be able to give their thoughts about the image. Now, we'd love to hear from you guys in the audience, so if you have feedback for the images, please don't hesitate to put that in the comments, and then we'll be able to grab you and pull your comments up on screen so that everybody can see what you think as well. And we can talk about what your thoughts are on the image. And also want to give a quick shout out to our friends in the audience today. Bassam is here, Pablo is here, Jeff is here, Kelly is here, David is here. Hi, David. So we've got a lot of friends already. And if you think that you know people who might benefit from being able to listen or watch these critiques and learn from them, please feel free to share this with them as well. Trey is here as well. Hi, guys.
Hello.
All right. Once we finish critiquing the image, we're going to score it on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. I don't know why 10. That would be way more difficult.
7.3.
Throwing out new rules. 1 being it needs a lot of work, and 5 being world class. So that's about where the score is. And audience, we want you guys to score things as well. So to kick it off, let's have a look at our first image. I'm about to bring it up on the big screen. I hope everybody's ready. Here we go.
Oh.
So, yeah. Now, for some reason, my face or my Photoshop has been desaturating images when I go to full screen mode. So this is the proper color, okay? But I'm gonna go to full screen just so that we can see it alone. We will start zoomed out so we can get a kind of a thumbnail view for composition.
Can you get rid of the rulers?
Yes. Whoops, wrong button.
Yay.
No, I don't want to rotate things, okay? Just stop. All right. Let's zoom in a little bit. Since this is a beauty shot, we can get in nice and close. And if there's anything that you guys want to see closer, just let me know. All right. There we have it.
Oh, that's a
All
good
right.
first one.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. I know I gave us a hard one to start off with. But the good thing is, I'm going to go back so we can actually see the proper coloring. The good thing is there's no rule that says we can't be like, this is really good, and here's the reason why. So.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anybody have any thoughts to start off with?
Sure. I hate going first, but whatever. I mean, I don't really have anything to like negative to say about this. It's really good. I love the subtle like color toning in the shadows or the gel or whatever it is. Either's good. The skin is absolutely flawless. Probably Pratik has more to say about that, but for me, it looks great. Like there's little things that I love, like how the eyelashes look like not clumped, because the makeup artist did a really good job. And the eyebrow hairs are all like really neat. The hair itself is like messy, but you can tell it's on purpose. So it just looks really good. I love the creativeness with the scrunchies. The bows are, I think it's scrunchies, right? There's like multiple scrunchies.
I think so.
Yeah. No, I think it's really, really nice. There's only one tiny thing, and I just wish it wasn't cropped so much on the right side, that side, like because the bow is cut off at the top, and I feel like my eye just wants to see the edge of it, and that's literally the only thing. Like the shoulder crop doesn't really bother me. It's literally the edge of the bow, and that's kind of it. So just like a smidgen extra on the right, or push the whole thing to the left a tiny little bit. Maybe if you cropped also on the left, I don't know. That might be a personal choice, but for me, I just really wish I could see the edge of the bow, because it ends too abruptly for me personally. But
Are you
like that
recropping it?
crop, yeah, like either cropping it more so that both sides are cropped, or leaving space on both sides. But yeah, that's really the only thing.
I know I had initially thought that even so, I know we're kind of, it looks like we're cropped from maybe magazine. I had been thinking I would have rather have seen things really close. And I think because the skin work is so beautifully done, I almost would have rather had seen something along these lines. But I think that that's just because this I actually find super distracting. But
yeah, how do you determine how much shoulder to keep in a crop? Like if you had to, is it always dependent on like the accessories worn, or is it, I guess, if it's a close-up beauty macro, then obviously you want to crop it in? How does that work?
that's a hard one, right?
Oh, yeah, I think it depends like what you want to show too. Like for me, like the shoulders aren't important in the shot at all. So you could crop in super close. You could crop them out altogether. It wouldn't really matter because they don't really have anything to do with the photo except for showing that she's skinny. You know what I mean? So I don't really think it, like, I don't know. It might just be like a personal thing. But yeah, it just feels like like I know she's dead center, but because of the hair being more weighted on the right side, it feels off center to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I feel exactly what you're saying. The balance is a bit off. If the only thing that honestly, I feel like the retouch was actually really good. And Nicole, if you want to zoom into the skin again for anybody who missed the detailing, because obviously with like StreamYard and stuff, you miss it for compression purposes. But like when you see it statically like this zoomed in, I love the fact that you can see the subtle nuances at pixel level with the color. Because typically what happens is when you traditionally do retouching, and if you opt for like frequency separation or whatever, you tend to really blend away the subtle nuances when you blend the colors together. And I love the fact that, Zach and whoever you worked with were able to actually keep that. And it shows up when you zoom out again for WebRes, which is great. It really comes through. The only, I think, thing that probably bothered me the most was actually maybe a little bit of the ear showing, but I understand the context of why it's showing. I'm not sure if it serves a purpose, for it to be there. Like, I wonder how it would have looked completely in shadow, or at least darkened down, because my eye kept going there once I noticed it. The other aspect was that on the ear itself, if we keep it there, there's a little flyaway on the ear, and I don't think that should be there. It serves really no purpose in the frame. And again, once your eye goes to that section, those things slowly start standing out. Also, if you zoom into the lip, I wanted to see if there's anything like correction wise with like skin tones and makeup, because when you're dealing with gloss, having that even spread of specularity across the lip is really important. And also that transition between the gloss and the lip itself. I think like there's this line that, there, and then in the lip itself, at the bottom lip, as it's going into the mouth, you can see like a line of a bit higher. Yeah, that area right there. You can see this transition between gloss and then the actual lip. I would have probably made that transition a little bit like cleaner, probably. And then aside from that, the other aspect is actually the color of the eyebrow, the saturation of the eyebrows versus the actual hair itself. I wonder how it would have looked if there was more of a similar color palette there with the hair, because that's always something we end up looking out for, because the saturation of the hair itself is, at least even the hue is a bit different. It almost looks like it's too harmonious. So I wonder if that was intentional or if that was just as shot. But those are the things that kind of stand out to me for this shot.
Yeah, I love that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, well done. That's all.
So with this, the only things that were really that stood out to me anyways, the ear was a great mention. That was one that I was going to point out. I probably would have just covered the ear. Just because it's like his huge body. I mean, we're nitpicking a fabulous photo though. So like,
true.
We're at this point, we're just like, this is basically like a 9.5 out of 10, but we're going to shred the crap out of that last 0.5. But if you zoom in right here on the neck, there's like a little highlight there, and there's a little circle in the middle of that highlight that I think is a little bit too bright. Yeah,
There's some glitter or something happening here.
So see like the vein, like this vein here on the clavicle down. Yeah, straight down. There, yeah, left. This is really hard if I can't control your mouse.
I know, I'm
There we
sorry.
go.
So no, okay, no.
Bright spot on the left.
Up. This is really hard.
Up.
Do you want me to just take a picture and send it to you on my phone? This is not happening. Nobody else can see it. Cool. Maybe I'm crazy. No, so zoom back in.
Okay.
Okay, so basically this vein thing here that we have on our neck. Right? Yeah. So follow that down, stop. Up there. That spot there, it's a little bit, it doesn't have to be that bright, that one circular spot. When you zoom out, it's just
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely would have burned that down a little bit because it does stand out. And the other part that I noticed on it is zoom in to the back of the neck. Yeah, down. And then there's just a like a vertical line coming down the neck here. And it's obviously from where she was turning her head. Go up. No, I just meant your mouse.
Oh.
I'm really bad at telling. Yeah, right there. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So with all the cleaning up that was done all over the neck and the skin, like the lines and everything, it's all gone. I probably would have cleaned that up as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Either commit to it fully or have a little bit more in there so it's very blatant.
100%. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Everything else is so smooth and so beautifully done. Those are just like two little details where I was just like, I mean, if you did everything else, like, why not take those two?
For sure. This was definitely a masterful image. I mean, to get to this point, it's, again, we're just criticizing the small bits, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think my favorite point of this entire image is how beautifully the eyes were retouched.
Yeah.
Like the how well the colors were managed within the color of the eye itself. The way that the makeup was retouched, like everything is really, really nicely done, and the makeup artist did a great job.
Yeah. And the
Don't
fact
ever
that
let this makeup artist go.
The fact that we don't have this overdone as well, like when people completely remove all reality from the eye and there's like no veins or anything. Do I have a weird
Renee
echo?
might need headphones.
Oh, hold on.
She's the only one without headphones, so that might be her causing the echo.
It usually
the other
doesn't.
thing also is like the waterline on the eye.
Seems like it's
itself.
only me.
No, I heard it too. There was definitely feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
That waterline, you see how like right there, you see how it's bright right above that lash, those lashes in the middle. No,
Right
not
here.
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that part stood out to me a lot. Maybe have it darkened down to balance it with the rest of the line of the actual eyelash line, because that would make it a lot more seamless. Kind of like the other side. The other eye was done really well, where it's all kind of even. That's the only thing I could really think of in regards to
Sure.
that. But I saw
You know
that
what's
right away.
really strange is that the so for me, like obviously, as we've said, this is a really extraordinary, like it's so beautifully done. The model was well chosen. The styling is really fun. The color is beautiful. The retouch is just clean as hell. For me, there were only a couple things that I noticed. And one is, I don't know if it looks like this to you guys, but this looks like it's been dodged a little bit. Like we have a kind of a weird hard transition here that I don't, and it almost looks like this and this have been dodged maybe more than they needed to be. I probably would have reshaped this line just a little bit, just because this is so smooth and lovely, and it's got such a pretty elegant line here. And this happens a lot. It's a really difficult thing to do if you turn your shoulder in, this becomes lumpy.
Yeah.
And then if you bring it back down, then you get a smoother line. And so it's something that can be done in posing, but it just ends up making, because of where the crop is at, this looks thicker than it should, I think. So I might have just ever so slightly, sorry, my mouse got lost. I might have just ever so slightly liquefied that just a teeny bit so that we had the same kind of elegant line on this side as we do on that side. But then the last thing, and this is completely a personal preference. When you have, and you don't obviously, like if we're seeing this in a magazine, you're not going to notice it. But because we're kind of pixel peeping right now, anytime you have this much, there's some cake going on. You know what I mean? We've got some powdery stuff happening here. and then you can see the powder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of cannot help it if you end up using makeup like that on the skin. Oftentimes when I shot and it happens, you can see here, you know what I mean? Like these kind of discolorations, and you can see it in the hairs. It's almost like the hairs get cake and stuck to the face.
That's the worst thing ever.
So, and when it's out, you just have this really beautiful velvety looking skin, which is fabulous. And most of the time, unless you're doing macro, like we're not going to be in here, right? But it's just one of those things that I notice from having retouched beauty stuff really, really close up. I always try to see how much we can get away with not having, like the less powder and the less foundation we can use when we do it, if we're going to do clean skin. I feel like, because I can do color correction probably better than the makeup artist can at this point, the cleaner the skin is, the better. As long as it's kind of dewy and you know what I mean, like the less we can put on there. But
honestly, like a tinted moisturizer is your best friend when it comes to beauty makeup. Don't use anything else, just tinted moisturizer for real.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
yeah.
And when you're seeing it this far out, like, you know, it matters not. Like it looks beautiful, it looks fantastic. But this is all, you know, like we said before, absolutely nitpicking the tiniest details because it's a really beautiful shot. And as we mentioned before, this photographer is the lovely Zach Sutton, and he submitted this, I think, last week. So really, really beautiful photo, beautiful model, well done makeup, well done styling. Like everything about it is so lovely. And we picked up just the teeny little things.
Zach can handle it.
He's a champ. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and he just upgraded to the 100 Fujifilm 100 GFX 100 as well. So I think this is the full res.
Oh yeah, it's enormous. I mean, it's like there's 100.
Yeah,
I think
and it's
so
probably beautifully
larger
sharp.
than that too. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically, I mean, when I photograph stuff these days, if I can get my client or a subject without foundation on at all, I do. You know, I'll get the makeup artist to do like a little bit of highlighter and blush, like where they want it to place, because I am not a makeup artist. But if there's like skin to correct, I would rather just correct bare skin than,
for reals, honestly.
100%, definitely.
Yeah.
If that's
There's
the one
nothing
takeaway
worse.
message from today, it's that.
Yeah, bare skin for the win.
Bare skin for the win. All right, so just grabbing a few of the feedbacks from our community really quickly. So
you're a bunch of jerks.
No, so
What a scam.
Decapitation, crop it like Dexter. Which is so funny. Dennis saying you got a good eye, Pratik. So also a couple people, you know, like obviously those are things that people aren't noticing so much.
They're like, what are you even talking about?
And you shot with the sternocleidomastoid. Yep.
I don't even know how to pronounce that. I saw that word come up and I was like, is that a dinosaur?
It could be. It could be. So apparently people keep an eye on the sternocleidomastoid. There we go. Some people really happy to see a couple of our favorite folks on here today. So
Ewan.
super glad.
Good people.
Hello.
Hi,
Simon.
Yes. Oh, hey, Nino. All right, guys.
Texas is representing today.
Yes.
It's time now to score this image. Scale of 1 to 5. Friends in the audience, it's your job as well. So put them in the comments. A 1 being needs a lot of work, and 5 being world class. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
4.
This is a half. Okay, it's a half.
Yeah, 4.5. That's what I'm giving it.
4.5. 4.5.
Yeah.
All right.
You need to make
friends
us
in the
cards,
audience, it's
Nicole.
your turn. I know. I'm sorry. Like all that I have is a 0.5.
Wait, what?
It's hard to do it.
I might have
it's hard to do
sticky
it
notes
with
somewhere.
your fingers. You know what I mean? Like you can't make a point. This is a 0.5. Like that's what I got. So I had to. This is my 0.5.
We're gonna.
Okay.
I got sticky notes.
Yeah.
What we've done in the past with other judging I've done is we just use a calculator on our phone.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
best
that's a
idea.
good idea.
Wait, does that show up the right
Yeah.
way though? Because I feel like I'm switched, or is it just
You might. I don't know.
I mean, if you can't read 4.5 backwards, you're broken.
There you go.
5.4. It's a 5.4.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Yep, we're getting some similar things from the audience. So it looks like they're falling right in the line.
Yes.
Amir, you're gonna have to explain yourself with that one, my friend.
Amir, tell us what's up.
You're gonna have to explain yourself. All right, and while we wait for Amir, we'll go ahead and take a look at the next image. I will pull it up. And I feel like my screen might be a little bit dark, but we got our 20 seconds. All right, we're going to the big screen. Gonna start zoomed out. We'll kind of just come slowly in so we can check everything out. All right, zooming in close.
I know what Elle's gonna say.
No, I don't even have to say it. You're so close. You're so close.
All right. I feel like, I'm not sure if it's my screen and this is just a little bit dark, but I feel like that might be actually closer to.
Are you interpreting his vision?
Well,
or her
for
vision?
purposes, it might be easier though.
Yeah, because obviously my screen is pretty bright with the lights that I have right here, and so it's hard for me to tell what actually properly should be showing. And I want to say that this might be actually closer to what it is supposed to look like.
Actually, you're right. We should definitely do that so we can see some shadow detail at least, just in case there's some like masking issues or whatever. Which let's zoom in again.
There are some masking issues.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come in again, and we're gonna start in here.
Yeah, we got them.
Yeah. Okay.
So just gonna do a quick flyby. Also, we just now know it was Robert.
What's up, Robert?
What's up, Robert?
Listen, Robert, I got something to tell you.
So a solar curve too. Just kidding.
That would be the meanest thing.
Just expose everything.
Oh no.
I mean, it's fair, you know?
All right. So we've had a good look.
I like it.
Ella, then you can start.
I want Ella to start.
Listen, dudes. He was so close. He steamed the dress. He did not steam the background. And that's all I can see is your folding marks on your background. You're so close, man. You're so close. You didn't steam the background, but you know, he tried. So, other than that, because we all knew I was gonna say that, the only. Like, I know you guys are going to touch on some other stuff, like, you know, the masking and all that stuff. So I'll do the skin because, coming in. We were literally just talking about makeup, and I know that this is not a beauty shot, but it's the same issues we were talking about where your makeup's too heavy and then it's too hard to fix the skin because of textures and whatever else. This would have been, well, actually, I mean, you could have, I guess, done more retouching, or you could have left out some of the makeup, especially on her, like, forehead and her cheek where like the blush is. It's just very, very textured, and you can see like crevices and lines, and I don't want to call them wrinkles because she's not old, but do you know what I mean? Like it just makes her look older than it actually is because of all those lines and creases in her face from her makeup. So either like it's further away, so you could probably get away with maybe some like heavier retouching because it's not going to be the focal point. Like I would never say go heavier retouching on a beauty shot. Instead, I'd say take away the makeup. But either or in this case might work because it is, you know, not a super close crop. But like even from far away like this, you can see like there's wrinkles in her forehead where like there's shadows and shadows and lines and like that kind of stuff. So just, I know sometimes when you do these kind of like creative shots, you don't have makeup artists and it might be the model doing the makeup. Just really encourage them to go like less contouring, less intense blush, less heavy foundation, powder, all that stuff, because it might look good on your phone camera. It never looks good on your real camera. It just never does. So those, the wrinkles and the makeup thing, I'm going to touch on that because I know you guys have other stuff to say, but that's like my thing. So I'm done for now.
Now you have to go, Pratik.
Okay, so it's interesting because I know obviously Bob shoots fine art stuff, and I've noticed a lot of fine art photographers also tend to leave skin sometimes more natural when it comes to color variations. So for example, if we zoom into the hands, there's a lot of redness in the hands and the fingertips, which honestly I've seen used as a very intentional thing sometimes. But if that was not intentional, I would highly encourage a lessening of the redness, at least how deep the tones are, like how dark they are. So lightening up a little bit, shifting the reds a little bit closer to yellows. At least there should be some harmonious color palettes happening between the fingertips all the way down to the arm. But the other problem that I have more than even the red fingers is actually the random green undertone showing through. So for example, like on the hand itself, right where the red ends, you got like that green patch.
And then a little bit tight here. Here?
Right here. Yeah, exactly. You got a green patch, which is very common and it happens. But if you have that like red transition to green to having beige, it's too much visually speaking. So your attention always tends to not really be focused on where it should be because of those things. And if you have a hard time seeing different color variations, it's easy as even putting a hue saturation adjustment layer on top and increasing the saturation. And you can see a lot of those issues come through. The other parts are places like the top of the temple of the face. You see green over there too, even more like in the center of the face too. You see green undertones coming through the neck and as well as the feet. And those are typically where you see green pop up. So, that's my biggest thing is having that kind of a little bit closer together. And, I think that's the main focus here. The skin retouching, I understand it could be a very subjective thing too. So I'm not going to touch too harshly on that for the nature of it. But I think if I would do it, that would be what I would do.
Fair enough.
Can I talk masking?
Yes,
do it. I know we all left it for you.
Yeah,
I know. I was like, everyone's leaving the masking for me.
Give it to Renee.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I can say when you're doing masking, especially doing hand masking like this, is throw out the soft round brush. That's what's giving you these halos around the body, especially the arm. We're getting that green halo around the torso. If you follow the fabric down, I mean, this is using a blending mode, and that's where you can see like here, there on the hip, and then back down, you can see parts of the building coming through on the green backdrop. So just scroll up a little bit. Stop. And right in the center of the screen, so you see the building, and then there's these lines into the green fabric. So follow to the right, and then follow that line up, Nicole. There you go, right there. Stop. And so right in there, there's these like little horizontal lines here. Then that's from using blending modes to add these backgrounds in and then blending them out softly. And it will create those kinds of things. So you really have to keep an eye on those. So what I would do in this case is I would be using brushes that match the texture that you're masking. So if you're stuck using round brushes, which is unfortunate, but if you're stuck using them, then use like an 80% hardness on those transitions. I mean, in the hair, it's a lot harder, and that the hair is actually the giveaway that you're using blending modes because all those little fine hairs are there. If you were really, really, really good at masking to get all those hairs out, then you wouldn't have made those mistakes on the arm. And there's nothing wrong with using blending modes. That's not cheating. That's just a technique. But that tells me that, those certain techniques are being used here. So definitely change the size of your brush and change the hardness of it. And definitely stay away from anything 50% soft and under, especially on this kind of an image, because those edges are quite harsh. They're not as hard as, say, like an automobile, right? Where those transitions, or like hard edge things like plastic. These transitions in a photograph, depending on how big they are in your frame, these transitions are much harder than softer materials. And so they do blend differently as far as how many pixels are in transition from the background to the actual subject itself. Sometimes it's 2 pixels, sometimes it's like 3. but that transition you really have to pay attention to in order to make those believable. Like, you want people to look at this stuff, and I realize what kind of style this is, these fine art, and I love that it's getting popular because it's so beautiful. And actually, one of my favorite things about it is that there usually isn't a lot of skin retouching on it. But definitely watch out for the too much foundation. That's a thing. But I love that it just looks like this old painterly style with like a little too much yellow and like these kind of like these beautiful tones of green and stuff. I think they're gorgeous. But yeah, those masking edges, they'll get you. So
yeah, I agree with you guys completely. And I think from just a pure, compositionally, the only thing that catches me is I wish we had a little more fall off, so that this, I like that the eye is pulled this way, but I don't want it to go all the way this way, because the lines in the fabric are enough to give us these kind of leading lines to her. But if we darken this just a little bit, it doesn't pull our eye all the way down. But compositionally, I love that it leads up. And I think pose-wise, you've done beautifully. The model is gorgeous. The color palette overall really, I think, suits what your intention was. And even, the lack of retouching is completely just a style choice, like that, just leaving that the way that it was, letting her skin just be what it is. But this is what I will say about that. So I'm all down with not retouching. But when you do big changes in color like this, and when you have directional lighting like this, you actually make the skin texture and the changes in color worse than they would be if it was straight out of camera. So even though maybe we want to keep the retouch as natural as possible, keep in mind that all of those problems are going to be exacerbated when you go full on color grading like this. All of the areas that Pratik mentioned, like, the muscle at the base of the thumb, and the place where either there is a lot of blood near the surface or not much blood near the surface, those areas are going to become far more contrasty in color than they would have been even if the photo was just straight out of camera. So in those cases, I think adding just enough retouching to do what Pratik said, where you're bringing them a little bit closer together, and then maybe not going and retouching her skin the way that you would for a beauty image, but just enough to account for the fact that we have this really directional light that is increasing the look of any kind of imperfections in the skin, just to account for that, not to overdo it, obviously, but just to kind of account for those changes. I think it will give you exactly what you want without the kind of downfalls that happen when you start moving into the style, because I love it. I like green skin. If you look at my work, I have a lot of green skin. I dig it. I don't know why, but so I'm on board with you for that. And I think the background was well chosen, and the pose is beautiful, and the color palette is nice, and the dress is really pretty. For me, it's just this little detail here of making sure that that's dark enough. And then I do think we could probably expose her toes here. I think having her foot on the outside of the fabric so that we don't lose, the toes here, particularly because this is such a painterly piece. And whenever you look at old paintings or sculptures where feet are involved, like there's a really beautiful thing with the way that toes behave when there's pressure on them. And so I would have loved to see that in this case. But so Bob is saying that this was his first attempt at doing this style, which in that case, like, well done.
Well done, sir.
Well done.
Wow.
Well
Golf
done.
clap.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. So yeah, I think keeping those things in mind, and then in addition to, what everybody has said, like, be super winning. You know what I mean? Like, and keep doing this. Please.
Yeah, chase this rabbit. You're good.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
This is your first time.
If your first
Keep going.
Right, for real. Like, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really beautiful. And I'm a fan. So nicely done, sir. All right, it is time to score this image. But first, I want to start grabbing some of the comments from our friends today who are in the audience. Like how everybody can predict you. Hello from Barcelona.
Hello.
Enrique, welcome. Amir's loving that they did leave, it's not retouched all into,
Yeah.
into
now we know why he
unbelievability.
gave the other one 3.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. All right. So Fidelio, if you would like to send photos in to be critiqued, I will actually put the link that you can use in the comments. Ooh, let me grab it for you real quick. I will put the link in the comments, and it's just filling out a quick form and sending it in, and then they will all go into a Google Drive and be chosen at random. And if your image is not chosen right away, please do not despair. That just means it'll be in another show. So all of the images that get submitted stay within the pool to be chosen for critique at another time. And I have shared that link, so you got it. All right, let me pull that out. Ooh, whoops. Okay, guys, it's time to score this image. And 3, friends in the audience, you have to do it too. 2, 1, go.
Nice.
Hey,
Oh, I hit the wrong button.
Ella, cheater.
Yay. Ella's like,
Hit
wait,
the wrong button.
she's like calculating.
I had like the old score up and then I hit the new one, so it was like
oh no.
too many numbers.
Now I feel like I got to use my phone too. I can't keep using my fingers. You guys are fancier than me. My calculator.
I have to admit, I've never retouched out the blue on the palm before, but now it's all I notice in my hand. And now I'm like, oh my God, all my photos are going to have like a miscolored thumb, and it's all I'm going to see in all my work.
Let's go pull up Renee's work and check it out.
I don't shoot a lot of hands, but.
So it looks like our friends in the on. I feel you, man. I feel you. I know.
The intention is there for a 4.
Honestly, if the masking errors weren't there, if the masking errors weren't the thing, I would have given it a 4. But the masking is what blows it for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, because you can see it from zoomed out. You can see that green halo.
Right.
Yeah. If that wasn't there, it'd be a 4 for sure.
Agreed. All right, going to the next image. Everybody, we got 20 seconds. Why are you so crooked?
Why are you so crooked?
I don't know. All right, here we go. Gonna start small again so we get a look at the overall composition from a thumbnail size.
I could do.
I also think this. I think I might be at least on my screen because I can't. Let me see. It might actually be looking a little bit more contrasty than it really is. I think it might actually be closer to in here, but I don't want to overdo that. My thing is really bright, but just to bring this up so that we can kind of see for a second real quick. All right, guys. Who wants to go first?
I already did 2. I'm not going first.
The thing that really catches my eye immediately is the lighting on the nose. For me, like, it stands out a little bit too much. Like, I would have probably darkened that down a little bit. I understand why it's happening based on the angle of light, but like, it was probably too shiny or something when it was hit. The skin hit it. So the exposure level on that nose, or the side of the nose, is catching all the attention. I would have much preferred the whites of the eye have a little bit more exposure than like the nose. So I'd probably darken it down to at least match the luminosity values from the eye, that was my major thing that stood out. The other one was the quote. I don't want to say quality, but the quality of the reflection in the wine glass. I love the concept. I think it's super intriguing. But the second you dive in there and see the reflection on the not that one, but in the liquid itself, in the dark, that whole thing, is that a smudge or is that a reflection?
Let's see.
It kind of looks like the workstation behind the photographer.
Yeah.
So I would get rid of that completely, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then also on the other side as well, at where the wine starts. Yeah, right there, that thing. Looks like a little goldfish or something. I'd get rid of it.
It does look like goldfish.
I was like, is it? Maybe is it? Is it? Can you zoom into that? Maybe it's a little goldfish.
It's
They didn't drink.
definitely not a goldfish.
That's the mystery. Yeah, that's my my little initial observation.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool shot. I'm not sure. Sorry, my cat's pushing me out of the chair. She's like, move! My boss is 9 pounds and 4 legs and furry.
And she knows it too. She knows.
Oh, she knows. Yeah, she can see me from like her little cat tree, and she just looks there judging me while I work all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this image is very cool. I do wonder about the lens choice because his hand is closer than his body, but it is. I mean, maybe he just has really big hands, but it is much like. I mean, you know the game of like you put your hand on your face.
Yeah.
At that point, it looks like he could just like alien face hug his face with his hand. And so maybe like a more compressed lens would like help reduce that. Because I mean, maybe he just has gigantic hands and that's just how he's built. But even if that was the case, I would probably still try to shoot a little more compressed, and maybe pull the hand a little closer to the body just to try and counteract from that because it is a little bit distracting. And the palm is actually the brightest point in the image, I think.
Yeah, let's see. I think it might be.
Yeah, and then other than that, it's the top left-hand corner there. It's there's like a highlight there as well. Actually, do you mind popping open threshold? Is that okay? Is that rude?
That's what I'm actually about to do. But the clone stamp tool wouldn't go work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So pull that. It is pretty close, but I think
Pretty close.
it's like really close. But I mean, the palm is kind of distracting a little bit. Like it actually,
But I think
like,
probably exacerbated by the fact that his hand is so big and so close and sharp compared to the face.
yeah.
And also that palm area, the background is so dark so that the palm is further intensified.
With the
right?
contrast.
Yeah, good point.
Right.
Yeah, I also probably would have tried to burn down the highlight on the top left-hand corner from where the strobe is. Yeah, I would have just brought that down just like a tiny little bit, just like use curves and just a big soft brush and just slightly less noticeable because the gradient is nice. You don't want to get rid of the gradient, but I would like to get rid of the distracting highlight. But
Yeah,
it is
I
a
think
cool
there's.
idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that this photographer did that are super fun. Like the blue on blue is cool. I think the choice even of split lighting here is cool because you have this kind of feeling of duality, right? Like there's a part of him that's in shadow and it's a little bit mysterious. And the fact that the wine glass was photographed in a way that this is the level.
I think
the
it's
wine
frozen.
is crooked. Well, I mean, but like
juice and frozen.
it's got that look, right? You know what I mean? Like it's got that crooked, like it's not flat. You know what I mean? Like, so the fact that it was a choice to be like, I want to make this so that it's not even. Like, there's a lot of really fun choices I feel like that are happening here, and the like even being really contrasty. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff. I think it might have been fun if you actually brought some of the reds out in this a little bit more because we have everything we have this blue and yellow, and I think to have the reds be a little bit more visible. Sorry, I keep losing my mouse. Having the reds be a little bit more visible in the wine would give us that additional kind of color contrast that would really kind of control the eye. And then as far as that goes, like everybody has mentioned, I think the stuff that you guys have mentioned so far is right on. And the only thing I would say is that it's an interesting choice to shoot at a depth of field where the face is out of focus.
I was wondering if it was the actual screen or like the...
Yeah, no, it's the face. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So face is out of focus, and we've got a little bit of kind of ixy pixely things happening there, but we've got, a nice sharp glass, a beautifully sharp hand, and then an out of focus face. So I think that was an interesting choice that doesn't really make sense to me. I think
know
if
the face was turning away, then you could have the focus being on the hand. But if you're seeing the eyes, then maybe the eyes should be sharper.
Yeah.
I would even go like more depth of field, like make it super blurry.
Yeah.
Like, because
that's kind
almost it's like almost in focus right now. So if you shot with like a 2.8, like that would have been, I think, more
and I think
more intentional looking.
Right. That's why it falls in that weird space between like, okay, I see that you did this on purpose, but I can't really tell why, because it doesn't look like it's trying to say anything about the image, which is, I think, when you've got a cool concept like this happening, you want those creative decisions to be made, I guess, boldly, like everything else was. And that just looks a little bit milquetoast. Like you want it to be either like full on, this is cool and we're going all the way with it, but that lack of focus just kind of falls in that weird middle ground where you can't tell why it was done. But aside from those things,
the only thing for me is I don't really get the hand pose. Like it's this awkward, like passive, kind of like almost limp.
It's in between.
Really get it. Like maybe if he had like, you know, like really done like a thing,
but like he was controlling it, like or something.
It just right now it kind of just looks like the model's like whatever.
I think it's a self-portrait.
I mean? Or like he was throwing it. Yeah, it is a self-portrait.
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah, I was actually I was gonna make a suggestion on it, but then I saw that it was self-portrait and I was like, oh, it's not gonna work. But if the photographer likes photographing these kinds of things, it would be really interesting to see if they tried this concept but free lensing. So if you did it with continuous light but free lensing with all that crazy distortion and stuff, this would be so cool.
Yeah. You know, the one thing I did just notice too that I do like, and I don't know if this was purposeful or not, but is kind of cool, is that we've got this really great line that's happening here.
Yeah,
which is like,
they need to take out the highlight under the arm, under the hand with the sweater itself. That's killing the line. That's true. I mean, this is kind of a great like demarcation between the light and shadow, so it'd be cool to play with that more. I think the one thing that I could say about this is it's just ambiguous enough about the reason why these things have been chosen that it's hard for me to buy it fully. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I want just a little bit more storytelling here so that I can be like, okay, like even if you don't like have to give me the whole story, but I feel like I need more commitment.
Yeah. Take it all the way. Yeah.
One thing I do notice that I really like though is the skin toning between the face and the hand is quite nice. Like it's right on point. Like there's nothing distracting. There's no pink fingertips or blue palms. Now I'm gonna notice those.
Blue palms are everywhere.
Hashtag blue palms.
You know, this is color graded really, really nicely. Like the skin retouching isn't distracting at all. Like it's so seamless, right? That's really nicely done.
Yeah, I do like the balance, especially for a guy's portrait. Like you said, when you're zoomed out like this, it looks fitting.
Right. Quick comment from the community: would be cool to see more motion in the glass, like splashing from being tossed over the shoulder.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Oh. None of us really know.
We're not sure.
Abstract art.
Why am I here?
Yes. What is the meaning of life and everything?
Oh no, man.
I'm going to wait for somebody in the audience to catch that reference, and whoever does it, I'm going to give you a high five when I see you. Okay. So it's now time to score this image. Friends in the audience, it's your job as well. So grab your phone panel and start.
I'm going to delete my old score first. See, I'm deleting it. It's blank. Okay. I've typed it.
I'm having a hard time with this. Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm glad that it was like old cricket. I'm glad that we're within the same realm. Here.
Oops.
Mama.
Hello, what do you think, Mom? Is it 3.25 this one?
Is it?
I was wavering. I was like, is it a 3 or a 2.5? I was like,
I know that was a struggle. I was like, I think I went with a 3 because it was in that place where there were so many things that are cool and done well, and it's eye catching, and so I don't know.
The retouching gave it points for me. Like your point was right, Renee, about how like you don't really think about it in this image. It wasn't even in focus really. Everything else was the main focus.
Yeah, I changed mine to a 3. Mine's a 3.
It's a 3
We're
now, guys.
upselling each other. Yeah.
All right, so I know we're hitting time a little bit, so I want to make sure we move on. So we're getting to the next one real quick.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Why does it keep being cricket? Stop being cricket. All right.
You have move all windows checked probably.
I might, yeah.
Nicole, your dang rulers.
Gosh, Nicole.
I'm sorry. What did I do? I didn't even do it. No, and I keep touching the wrong button.
Okay, move your mouse out of the center
Ah,
there.
Stop telling me what to do. Okay. All right. Coming in close.
Coming in hot. Wow.
All right. I have one thing.
What is it?
One. I wish this knee was positioned differently. That's it. It's just a big, because of the way that it's bent and the way that it presses the leg against each other, it just is expanded and really, really large. I wish it was either flat so that she could, which is the pose I'm sure people have seen, leg flat, foot tucked behind, so that the knee then, instead of being like this, the knee then goes like this, right? So that's just about the only thing. Otherwise, the light, the texture, the contrast, everything else in this image, at least for me, is out effing standing.
Mm-hmm.
Can we
That's
see
really
a
good.
histogram?
What's that?
Can
Oh,
we see
yeah,
the histogram? That'd be awesome.
When you're done
I was
that,
like,
can you check the
Instagram.
focus point? I want to see where it's perfectly in.
Let me.
So not quite crush black, but almost.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. What is it clipping
Nicely
to?
balanced.
Like two? Wow.
There we go. Like
Yeah.
2. Right at 2 is where we start to get.
2. It's at 5. Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
nice control.
It's like real squeaked on the line. That's really nice.
Real close.
Yeah,
Real
nicely
close.
balanced. Yeah.
For me, I think that 2 things. Number one, again, I agree with you, Nicole. Spectacular image. The highlight being on the knee bothers me a little bit, like it being so bright. Is it clipped? Is the knee clipped?
I don't.
Is it also
Not
a
at all.
highlight or
Yeah.
is it flower?
Yeah.
Like if they
It's-
had just brushed the flower off her knee, would it still be so bright? Was what I'm wondering.
Probably not.
Also.
Probably not.
Yeah.
We're so far from clipping anything here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
you know, like we'd have to go. I mean, this probably, like if you were to. What am I at? 10%?
Yeah. Just just that little bit of balance, you know. In terms of having, that's the only thing that really stuck out to me. The other thing was, I don't know if it would make a difference or not, but showing a little
something more.
Yes.
Where the face and right.
Exactly. Nicole, you know this so well because you've done a shoot similar, right, with the flower and stuff and the smoke and.
Yeah, that was just all smoke.
Oh yeah.
It was.
But that balance on yours was really great, and I think when I see stuff like that and things like that stand out to me because of it. The same thing for the arm, where the arm is touching the the
right
knee.
here.
Yeah, but that's it really. And then another part is right where the arm is wrapping around the knee on the top. I wonder if seeing a little bit more of the leg would have been better. I don't know.
Through here.
Just a hint of it, maybe it's a little bit of a shape, maybe some darkness coming, showing you the shin of it or something, just because it looks so matte and even. with the smoke filling it in, I don't know if it would improve it or not, but that's only two things that I thought of.
Yeah. And I think, having you mentioned that, the only other thing maybe that I might also have changed is her hand here. Because we kind of lose it. And this is a kind of image I would love to see printed really large. Like ideally, I would walk in and this sucker would be huge on a wall and you could come and really like get into the texture and everything. And I think if this hand was positioned, so maybe if it was even just on her ankle so that we could kind of see the shape of the hand and the fingers, because things like this are so sculptural, to take advantage of some of those kind of sculptural, it's not really like a cliche or anything, but it's just a hallmark, right, of sculpture to be able to show those things. And I think to take advantage of something like that would be really fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's funny for me, I have like the opposite opinion on it. Like I kind of like, I probably would have shot with, the large knee is a little bit much, like maybe just like a slight tip of the body would have handled that. But I love the tightness because it's like this vulnerability. Like I don't mind the tightness around the arm. I don't mind that the bottom hand is missing because that's not smoke there. It's just flour. They're just throwing flour in. And like I really like that there's just like this tension, right? Because for me it feels tense, right? But yet it's this like beautiful casual moment, but yet her body is still so rigid because she's balancing on a really small stool, and that allows for like what kind of narrative the viewer wants to put to that image within themselves. Is there a part of them that feels like that? Does this image help them like express that feeling for themselves? I think this is like, it's so nicely done. My only thing that I would do with this is I would probably kick up a little bit of flour to the bottom of the image, because there's so much radiating down in the entire shot. The bottom of the shot is just quite dark, and it would be nice to just fill in, just like have someone there with like a little bit of flour in the hand, just go just to like, because basically what happens is like the flour in the air, it diffuses the light, because this is quite like dramatic lighting, and then all the flour, the light bounces off all the particles in the air, and it makes it a lot softer. And I think it would just fill in that tiny little bit around the bottom of the image, just like really, really, really nicely. Even if they were just sitting below and they had it in their hands and there's that bah, and they just clapped it and the flower came up. The same way that people are outside of frame and just like throwing the flower. I think that would be nice. But this is freaking awesome. Again,
really
we're nitpicking like the last night from like 0.5 of an image when this is like spectacular.
Particularly when you see it like this, you can see how much of the power of the image is right here.
100%. 100%.
So I feel like I have to do something now, and you guys will have to forgive me. I can't help myself, but this needs to happen, because this is exactly what I'm going to tell you. I've had, and I love that Eli did this, because I've had an image like this in my head for a long time, and he did it beautifully. So I'm so glad he did it. But out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And that is by the amazing Maya Angelou. And as soon as I saw this shot, I was like, oh my God, he just photographed that poem.
Ooh.
And so for me, like, so I just had to grab that poem a little bit. And well, number one, Maya Angelou was like the everything, but also I feel like this shot is such a beautiful, if there were a book where these could be together, I would be happy, because I feel like it's such a poetic image that just seems to suit that poem so well.
Really does.
Ella, what you got for us, girl?
I got nothing. I got literally nothing else to add. I agree with the knee. It looks like a little bit too big. I really agree about the bottom flower, because I don't know what it is. I just don't love seeing the stool. So if you threw the bottom flower up, it would, get rid of the extra darkness and it would hide the stool at the same time. So it's like a double win for me.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't care about the tightness in the arm. I think it's fine because like it is kind of, like a tense pose. Even though her face looks very like serene, it just like it looks uncomfortable. Like, so I'm okay with there being like tension and the tightness in the elbow and against the knee that you guys were talking about. I do agree about the hand that you said, Nicole, at the bottom where it's kind of like this. It's weird if it was tilted up more so you could see like this instead of what is
Right,
it like
because
this.
now it's like here, and maybe if
it's just kind of weird. Like if it was like this, I think I would like it better, but I don't hate it the way it is right now. It just looks a little bit awkward, but it's not enough for me to like break the image. You know what I mean? There's all these little things I'm saying. None of it is enough to break the image. I like it how it is. There's just, again, little tiny things that if you fix them, or not fix, just did tiny bit differently, it would make it from me like a perfect score. Because right now it's so close. So close.
So close.
I would love to see you submit this to WPPI because I want to see what they say, because they would probably pull up some of the same things that we've said, but they might also pick up on more. Who knows? But I think I think this would score pretty well. Do you guys think it would score pretty well? I don't know anything about WPPI.
Yeah,
but I think you should submit it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I had the thought of what would it be like if it was cropped in, and then I was like, nope, don't change the crop. This is awesome, just as is. Leave it alone.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes when you're critiquing because you start trying to think of everything that could potentially help, and so you're like, is it an exposure thing? Is it a crop thing? Is it like what could And then sometimes you're like, nah. And I think with an image like even the tightness of the frame plays into what you were saying before, Renee, about the constricted body language, right? Like even that, and just enough of the dark space. So yeah, incredibly emotive shot. It gave me all the feels, and it is time now to score the image. So pull up your calculators, people.
They're like, wow, we're so bad at math.
Pull them up. All right, friends in the audience, it's your job too. Here we go, and go.
Oh, we can do more than 0.5s? Shit.
Oh, we could do point. Oh, if that's the case, then 0.5.
It's a calculator, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
We were doing 0.5s before because we were like half a finger.
Oh, okay. Well, now
half a finger.
4.8237.
Yeah.
The price is right.
Yeah.
Come on down.
So lovely.
But I actually can't do the next one because I have to go because I have to go to an appointment. I'm very sorry, whoever is the last photo, but I can't critique it. Can I see it real quick to see if there's any wrinkles?
Yes. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, so this photographer is Eli Dreyfus. Well done. He writes for F-Stoppers. Who's a colleague of mine. I'm so glad that he submitted. This is beautiful, Eli. Well done.
Super well done, dude.
Here we go.
Awesome. We should pull up some of the scores of the previous image once Ella judges this one for wrinkles.
Well, there's not really any wrinkles, so I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so you guys have fun. I have to go. This was great. See you guys later.
See you, bye.
I missed all your faces.
I know.
Bye.
Bye, all right, guys. 20 seconds is starting now. Gonna start zoomed. Ooh, I'm pushing buttons in the wrong places. Gonna start zoomed out.
We were taking away your Photoshop rights.
You just leave me alone.
Nicola's professional SH.
I know what I'm doing, I swear.
The ruler is Nicole.
Unfortunately, we don't have the super high res of this, so if we come in too close, we're going to get a little bit pixely, but we'll start down here. Hey, New Mexico.
What was it?
Looks just like it if it's not. It's exactly what it looks like here.
No, I can tell by the dirt.
Yeah, you can tell by the dirt. Okay. So I feel like this is a great place for Renee to start, since composite work and everything is your cup of tea. And I know you're going to call out a lot of the things I've already seen and probably say it way better than I would. So.
I mean, so this is a composite, and the wings, this is, all right, the wings. Let's start with the wings.
Okay.
So the wings are super cool, but the problem is, words are hard today, they were photographed against a blue sky or a blue background or something like that, because the material is semi-transparent, and then there's all the gaps in between where you're seeing the blue come through. And the sky that you put her on is a dark gray. So the easiest way to get around that would be just grabbing the blues and desaturating the blues out of the feathers itself. So just go create a hue saturation. Yeah. Go to your blues, yank that down, and just mask it out of.
I think there might be some cyan in there too.
Yeah, probably. But right now, even now with the masking errors, it's a lot less distracting. So if you just invert the whole thing and then just mask out, big brush, just a big soft band around the edge of the wings, that'll get rid of that weird color cast. And
would help if I was using a black brush. So that's when it's there, guys. That's when it's that's when it's there. That's when it's not there.
Yeah,
that's when
big
it's
difference.
Yeah. So just that step alone is a really, really, really easy way to get rid of those kind of errors. The easier way would have been to just put a blue sky behind. But if you don't want that, then obviously nuke it. I do believe the water underneath is 3D generated, or what you did, or was flip the image and put a ripple layer on the image itself of the girl, and then put that on the water, which is a really great trick to blend it, but it looks digital, unfortunately. And so you can see the blue masking errors on the feathers as well, which ironically works because
because it's in the water, right?
Because it's consistent. But yeah, doing reflections on water is really, really, really hard. There is a Dutch composite artist by the name of Adrian Summeling. He does amazing water reflections in composites, because he shoots everything in the studio and then he puts in these reflections, and it is mind-blowing. So highly recommend checking out any work by Adrian Summeling. I realize this is pro to you, but he doesn't work for them, so whatever. But he has great techniques for blending reflections in water. I can't even come close. I avoid compositing over water because it's so hard to make it look right. And my bar is Adrian. So if I can't make it as good as Adrian, if I can't send it to Adrian and him being like, oh yeah, it's perfect, then I just don't start.
You're not going to do it.
Yeah, because this type of composite is super challenging, but it's also, this is a very common starting ground for composite artists.
Yep.
This is a very common trend because it's super fun. Making people flying is one of the biggest bonuses of doing composite artwork, is we can break the rules of reality. But that also means that it is quite challenging. So you're gonna run into a few more hiccups that other people aren't going to. The other thing that you're gonna run into in this type of compositing is that her hips have gravity right now. And so you can see the weight of her body in her hip position. Whereas when somebody is in the air, the hips tend to shift and drop a little bit. Oh, did we just lose Nicole?
Oh. Nicole.
Nice. Right on. This is.
No, I'm here,
gone.
Guy. I think my
we are the captain now.
I think my. I think my camera died for some reason. It's plugged into the AC outlet.
Some bad juju going on.
It died. I don't know what happened.
My computer died the other day, so
yeah. And the Mac here just died today, dead.
What is happening?
Apple has upgrade.
Yeah. But yeah, so one of the things that's going to happen a lot whenever you do these kinds of floating images is trying to get the body to look like it's floating. And that really takes a lot of time and practice. But I mean, one of the easiest ways to do it literally is get a kid's trampoline and just bounce and then photograph that movement. And especially if you're shooting them outside in the sunshine, I mean, admittedly, your masking is going to get a little bit harder if you're photographing them outside. But then what you're going to get, though, is that nice natural body language, because you're going to have that extra little bit of space for the body to relax, and it's landing on something soft. The other way that you could do it is, set up a piece of fabric along the side of your house or whatever, or outdoors, just like a simple color to make easy extractions, and then put some mattresses, and then just have them jump onto the mattresses, and you'll get these like really, really great loose body positions that you can't really get when you're like, oh, just lift one foot up and then lift the other foot up. It does tend to like, break the believability of it, even though I realize people don't fly normally, but we all want to fly. There's a part of us that like wants to feel that. And so if you can sell that with the body, language, that makes for a much stronger composite.
Yeah, agreed. And I think a couple of the things too to consider is when you're putting together something like this, where you're telling a story, you have to consider, all of the elements that are included, and probably this choice in wardrobe, maybe not the best. Because there's nowhere to go with it. It's not leaning toward any kind of fantasy that we know of. It's not leaning toward any kind of mythology. It doesn't look like what you would imagine if a person just walking down the street were an angel and could fly off. And if that were the case, we would need some kind of other signifiers in the image itself, and we just don't have that. And I can tell that you're trying to tell a story because you've included all of these elements. I mean, we have she's wearing white, she has the wings, we've got a rainbow happening. And so there's all of these kind of storytelling elements there, but nothing that's really working together well in order to kind of bring that home. And we've got some kind of God rays happening, but the light is coming from here, except the light and the clouds is not coming from that direction. And so we have to consider like just all of those elements coming together, in addition to like obviously the things that Renee mentioned. When you're going to composite, you want your light to be coming from the same place, and you want it to be the same quality of light, and you want to be able to match the color from your white points and your blacks, and the color that's going to be contaminating a landscape also needs to be on the subject as well. So just be thinking about those kind of little details, like those storytelling details, that you need to include in the composite in order for everything to make sense that's happening in the image.
Yes. Also, when it comes to lighting her, there's a huge shadow on the wrist from the thumb, which you have to be careful of. So always make sure that you're, however you're lighting your subject, you don't have any weird shadows happening. And also when you're doing your masking, I don't know what's going on, but on the other hand, it looks like the finger might be missing. I'm not sure.
I think it's pointed because
forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just make sure the poses that you select are good. And if for whatever reason, let's say right now the hands don't look great, but maybe from another photo, the hands look better. Just copy those hands and use them instead of the photo that you decide to use. Because we do that often when we're for pretty much any genre, actually. For all of us, for what we do, we take parts from different photographs and then use the best elements to ensure that we have a great final photo.
Yeah, agreed. Also, I think it is also worth mentioning when you're choosing, and it almost looks, is it just me or does it look like the mountains were composited? Either the sky was brought in or the mountains were brought in.
I think both.
Well, yeah.
I mean, maybe not, but I think both. I actually was wondering if it's hard to tell with the low res image and seeing it through the internet. I'm not quite sure, but I was wondering if the whole image was 3D rendered. Like not the clouds, but it looks a little bit like it's a program called TerraGen.
Right.
It has that effect, that look to it.
The replication.
Yeah, but again, it's really hard to tell on a low res image through the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
But it does have that kind of look.
Yeah, because what I was thinking is that it's hard to. So clouds have perspective as well. And when clouds are close to you, so like if you imagine here, you can see the underneath of my hand, and then the farther I get away from you, if you stay on a proper plane, where the sky is at, so you'll be able to see the underneath of the clouds that are closer to you, and then the farther you get away, the more they move toward the horizon, and the less of the bottom of the cloud you can see. So, and size, they're obviously going to change in size relative to each other. So when you're choosing sky elements, make sure that you're keeping that perspective in mind as well.
That's a good point. like seeing those clouds on the horizon there. Also, the mountains being so cool, and the rest of the image being a little bit warm, like a warmer tone, kind of throws me off a little bit as well.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, the big thing that I'm just noticing on the mountain here actually is that the so this image has been cut in half, flipped, and the bottom half has a ripple effect on it. That's what happened. So the top half is the composite, and it was flipped with the ripple effect. But those mountains wouldn't be showing in the reflection of the water.
That's true.
They would not be visible. You would not see them. You'd only see the grass and her.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And you wouldn't see all of the grass either. Like some of this here, you wouldn't actually. Yeah.
Yes, it'd be way more sky on the, and you wouldn't see those clouds anyways. You would see different clouds in the reflection.
Yep.
So it basically, if you want to do this, you have to, you have to create two composites basically. Like if you want to use the ripple effect to do this kind of composite, then you have to build two composites with two different elements to make the ripple effect on the bottom.
That's a great point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but keep it up, man, because this is what compositing looks like when you start going through it. To just keep doing it because this stuff's awesome and it's super exciting, and you're going to get better. You're going to make cool
better
stuff
fast too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the fun thing is once you start picking up some of the stuff that Renee is mentioning, like once you get that and then you start applying it, all of a sudden your composite work skyrockets and you're like, holy moly, like how did it get good so fast? But you can. And it's
that's
awesome.
why you take Renee's class like right now, and that's it's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And like being able to learn some of the things that you would not have thought of, like often, and as we've seen in some of the kind of composites already, like being able to choose a textured brush that matches the texture of the area that you're compositing, man, that will change your masking world.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. All right, so this photographer is Roger Talley. Roger, thank you for submitting your image. And it is time to score this sucker. So grab your calculators.
All right.
Actually, one small thing that I want to notice that's really done nicely in this is that the shadow quality on the grass and the shadow quality of her is very similar. Like it's almost the same.
True.
Contrasty light on both, which is really nice.
True.
Wow.
And that is something a lot of early compositors will mess up.
I screwed that up for years. I still don't get it right sometimes.
This true. It is hard. I mean, not true about you, but just saying the tendency is there.
Yeah.
Okay. Does everybody ready? Oh, should I cover that? I don't know what the rules are. Okay, and go. Nice. Agreement. There was agreement.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody who submitted an image today, you guys freaking rock. I know how scary it can be to be vulnerable enough to put your image out there, to have it torn apart online. And that makes you basically rock stars. So guys, well done. So many beautiful images, so much promise. There's so much that is clear that the people who have just are getting into that field, whether it's, kind of the fine art portraits or the composites, it's clear that you guys are going up. Like you're starting from amazing places and you're going to go do incredible things. And for the folks who had some fantastic images that didn't really require much in order to be world-class, thank you for also, I think we can get, and you guys can tell me if you agree with this, but I think sometimes we can get to the point where we're comfortable enough in our skill that we don't necessarily feel the need anymore to put it in front of other people and go, hey, tell me where I could work on this. Like we're like, oh, I'm good now. Like I don't need anything anymore, And it requires like some real vulnerability to be like, hey, I've got to a place where I'm comfortable, but I'm willing now to let people tear my work apart a little bit. And so that requires some bravery.
There's this thing, right? So there's like the stuff that is like the palm, the inside space of my hands, right? And then the stuff that you don't know is this circle. And then the stuff that you don't even know that you don't know is everything else. And so the better you get, the more you don't know.
Right.
Right. But then you're starting to feel comfortable, but then imposter syndrome starts to take over. But then you still need someone to come along and be like, boom.
Yeah.
And then all of a
sudden, let me just expand your circle a little bit.
Exactly, because then there's like these blind spots that you're just like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then your knowledge just like overnight can change just by like sending it in to either someone you trust or a panel of dorks like us.
Yeah.
Random internet dorks.
Yeah, we have like the retoucher 10, the blue Even
The blue
Pratik,
undertones.
even Pratik, far too pale.
That's true. I should be 10 shades darker.
We're like just like the blue from our screen is just tinting us for life.
We all have blue palms now.
Exactly. Oh my god.
That's so blue.
I do. Look at this.
Oh, Renee, you can see it. Yeah.
You can see my veins, man. I'm pale.
I
as hell.
know. Dude, I feel like at this point I'm see-through. Look at
Look
them.
at those forearms on you,
Wow.
Jesus.
Look at that.
I know.
Wow.
I got
Dude,
climbing
what?
arms.
Wow. I like that's nice.
Got climbing arms. It's like Popeye. It's really sad. It's like "Ba-doing." Super feminine, you know.
At least we know who's gonna open our can of spinaches, right?
Right?
Right.
Yeah. No, if there's ever like a jar that needs opening, I'm just gonna be like, Nicole. And you'll be like,
We
it's
should-
okay, open. And I'll be like, I can't get it.
Put your forearms to use.
Yeah.
Yes. So everybody who submitted today, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Don't forget, we do this every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So obviously this week, we had quite a few of the ladies of the Photographers Roundtable had previous commitments, things that they had to go and take care of. But amazingly, these two incredible photographers, retouchers, digital artists, and instructors, and business people. I mean, you can keep going with the adjectives. Were
Really
kind
tired.
enough to jump in at the last minute. Really tired. Well,
This is delusion, actually.
are we even here? I don't know.
I wear all the makeup to hide the bags.
Uh-huh. That's why I have this guy, Mr. Sparklebum, who lives on my desk because he reminds me to stay engaged with the real world, you know.
I got one of those.
Yes!
Oh, I don't have. I have. Oh wait, I got a baby Yoda.
Yes, we all have desk buddies.
Yes.
People in the
Desk
comments,
buddies.
tell us what your desk buddies are. What are your desk
Yeah.
buddies?
Yes.
Load some of
What
those.
are your desk buddies? What
Yeah.
are they? Did you get that 3D printed, Pratik, or did you 3D print it? Where did it come from?
I got a 3. It's a 3 printed, not by me though, but I got it from a friend.
Yeah. Also, I was showing Pratik before we went live. I was showing him, so this is the case for my AirPods.
Sorry, that was loud.
Sneakers! Man, he's got sneakers. Like he stands on his own feet. Look at him. He stands there.
Aw.
So he
He's
stands
like
on my
earning
desk,
his
too.
rent because he's got a stand.
I know. He does. Yeah, he does. He's got to put in the work. Him and then Zelda's over there as well. She's my other desk buddy. She's hanging out.
Nice.
So desk buddies, stacks of paperwork.
Oh yeah, I got that too. I'm not
Yeah,
showing
I got
that.
like a cup over
We don't.
here.
We ignore those.
Sun's out, guns out.
All right, guys. So much appreciate having everybody here today. Also for your friends, you friends in the audience, having you show up, giving your feedback as well, letting us know what you think. I know that the people who submit are grateful to hear your thoughts as well. And guys, the link is in the comments. Should be in Facebook and YouTube as well, but I continue to let everybody know weekly through the Pro EDU platform, whether that's on Instagram or on Facebook, on YouTube, letting everybody know when these are, and I will provide the link every week so that you guys can submit if you would like to have your images critiqued by the Photographers Roundtable and our amazing guests that come and hang out with us here. So one more big applause, everybody, Pratik and Renee. Thank you for being here, guys. You're amazing.
Thank
to jump
you,
in at the
Nicole.
last minute.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I basically
I love
I
it.
got home. I was out doing errands and I got home with this gigantic A&W burger and I was just I didn't even breathe. I was just in the face, down, power.
Yes, that's what I did too. I was like, there's chicken and Brussels sprouts, and I was just like, ah, go.
Yeah. You're just one of those birds where they just open up this huge neck. You just shove the whole plate in. You're like, okay, just shake it
I
out.
pelicaned it.
Do this. Pelican. That's a big word.
I just forgot to eat till it was time, and I was like, 5 minutes to go. Just have snacks.
just gonna go on the tummy, on the empty
Yeah.
tummy.
Yeah.
Gonna work fasted. That's what you're gonna do. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for
Take
being
care.
here, guys.
Bye. Peace.